Well, thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest on HBC. This is the television program devoted to St. Mary's University and primarily its athletic program, though we certainly touch on other subjects as well. Dean Beckman, Donny Nadeau, the sports information director for the Cardinals, and Chris Kendall joining us today. Chris is the vice president for student life, at least that's the current hat that he's wearing at St. Mary's. But Chris has a long history with the Cardinals, and Donny, Chris graduated in 1979 from St. Mary's and just recently was inducted into our Hall of Fame, our Athletic Hall of Fame, as part of the M Club weekend.
Yeah, great honor for Mr. Kendall, and you told us his title here at St. Mary's, but really the more important one is the Hall of Famer. I mean, for Chris to be a Hall of Fame member is pretty awesome, and the weekend itself was fantastic, and listening to Chris's speech, really, I think it touched a lot of the people that were in attendance.
Well, Chris, you've been on the Cardinals Nest plenty of times before, so you're no stranger to the program, but the first time now where the spotlight is not necessarily on an event, it's a little bit more on you this time. So give us your thoughts on when you found out that you were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, your reflections, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I tell you, when I got the call, it was a surprise because I've looked at those folks up on the board for a lot of years, and I just don't see myself in the context of those people. But it did trigger a lot of memories, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails from former players, and really kind of reminded me how lucky I am and how many people invested their time and effort in me, and like I say, it was very humbling. I remember as a baseball player, I would always, on a day when we'd win, I'd think of what I did wrong. On a day we'd lose, I'd think of what I did right. So when I got the call to be in the Hall of Fame, it kind of triggered, all the places that maybe I wasn't quite as successful.
Talk a little bit about the weekend. That Friday night, we had the big ceremony. We honor all of our student athletes that received postseason honors, and then all of the inductees got to speak. Talk a little bit about giving that speech that you gave, your induction speech, to that audience of student athletes.
Yeah, I always love Cardinal M Club award ceremony because it does span the gamut. You got a freshman sitting there whose whole college career's ahead of them, and you got old folks like me in there talking about it. And to me, I love that spectrum of people and talent and where athletics fits in their life. So just to be in the room like that is great. It's a little intimidating having people listening to you when you talk, but it was an opportunity to stand up and thank my family, my parents, and a lot, like I say, all the people who invested their time and energy in me, Christian brothers, coaches, and some key people, Max Molak, Tony Piscatello, some of those folks. It was great to be able to stand up there and publicly thank all those folks.
It was nice for you, sorry to mean to cut you off, it was nice for you, the whole family was there, your mom and dad were there, your family. Talk a little bit about that, because you did speak of that in your induction speech, about the importance of family.
Yeah, and I tell you, I knew I was going to struggle because, my folks are fantastic. I think back to all the games they came to. I couldn't even say it, but there was a moment in time when my dad, I was home and he walked up and he handed me all the scorebooks from Little League, high school, even college games. And I was going to say that in the speech, but I know if I'd have said it, I'd have broke down crying. Because they really have given me a great start, not just supporting me, but really did give me a real good mission in life, an expectation to give back more than you take, and but that was really neat. Thanking my parents, my brother and my sisters are real busy with life. They all came back to town. My son, my daughter, sons and daughters, they were all there. It was a busy week because with people coming to town, we're shampooing carpets and washing windows and grocery shopping. So it was a big week altogether. It really was.
And Chris, you alluded. We often talk on this program about the sacrifices families have to make when their sons or daughters are in athletic programs. But I think especially at St. Mary's, given our location in Winona, where a lot of our families are from the cities, or they're from the Chicago area, or from farther off. They have to make some specially designed and planned trips here to see their sons or daughters play. And when you go to an event on the weekends, those bleachers are full. And it's usually family members that are there. Yeah,
and it is. It really is. I mean, sports is a lot about family. I traveled to a lot of hockey rinks with Donny here when the kids are all playing hockey. And, at some point in time, Monday, you look at your schedule and it's like, I have no life. But once you get there to the game, that's what it's all about,
Right.
and it reminds you you're glad to make that. And it's not a sacrifice. It's something that you love. It
And,
really
and
is.
Chris, in your acceptance speech, besides the comments of appreciation and the thank yous, what else did you try to get across to some of the current athletes that were in the audience?
I talked about passion because I think, everyone says find what you love, follow your passion. And everyone thinks, oh, it's just what you love. But I also think on the flip side, it's like your passion is what you're willing to suffer for. You play through some injuries, you play through the downtime, you play through the disappointment of expectation and things like that. So I did talk about that. I talked about making mistakes. Young people are worried that their peers are going to say, oh, you made a mistake and this and that. And really, you learn the most from your mistakes. So to try hard and fail, I think that's how you learn things. I think the essence is try to make different mistakes. Baseball, whatever the sport is, you're always taking things apart, practicing a part of them, putting them back together. So I think it's a great discipline. So I talk to them about taking a chance and don't worry about making mistakes. I think that the biggest mistake that I would try to have them avoid is to not walk away at the end and say, I didn't give it my best effort. As long as you're giving it your best effort, that's what you can really do.
Right.
Hall of Famer for what you did on the field. But talk a little bit about now, you graduated in 1979, and you've been at St. Mary's virtually, a long time since then. Talk a little bit about what you've learned and what St. Mary's has kind of taught you after graduation.
Yeah. Well, clearly, Max Moloch, playing baseball for Max Moloch, opened up tremendous doors to me. It seems like about every 5 years at St. Mary's, I've been given another opportunity. Came back and did some coaching. Student activity director, a dean of students, athletic director. Sometimes people say you can't hold down a job, but it really has opened a lot of doors to me. And as thankful as I was for all the baseball years, it did open the doors for me to go back and be like the teachers, the coaches, the Christian brothers, to give back and make a difference in other people's lives. And I know someday when I walk out the door and turn the lights off and retire, I'll know how I should have done it. Because you always are learning something. So, you talk about lifelong learners, and I still make lots of mistakes, but I still try to learn from them.
Well, Chris, and I knew you were athletic director. I was at St. Mary's when you were athletic director. What I didn't know, I knew you were an all-conference center fielder for St. Mary's, but what I didn't know is that you also coached the team for a year. Tell us about that experience a little bit.
Well, I think I was a better baseball player than I was a coach. Okay, and I was probably a better baseball player than I was an athletic director. The passion, the sports, a lot of it carries over. But I was very fortunate to work with George Drucius and to work with Ed Service as an assistant coach. I love hitting fungos. I love being part of the team. Those were some great years. A lot of fun, and got to travel around and to be able to go back to some of those fields I got to play as a player, and then and still a lot of the coaches I used to play against, all of a sudden I was coaching against them.
Sure.
So again, great opportunities, and really fortunate to have those experiences.
Can you kind of compare the time that you played here under Max to where the program is now under Coach Winicky? Can you make some comparisons to what it was like then and what it's like now?
Well, last year to me was a huge year. In fact, the success that the baseball team had did trigger a lot of newspaper coverage up in the Twin Cities, and it was real gratifying to hear people talking about Max Moloch. We were talking earlier, Donnie, back in the 70s, everybody in Winona knew who Max Moloch was, and now it's just kind of us old-timers. Time marches on, but it did bring back some of those. So I think there are some comparables. I know that when I was talking at the M Club ceremony, I did ask for the coaches and the players to stand up because I was thanking people, and I said, I want to personally thank you for beating St. Thomas last spring. So it really did. A successful baseball program, and that's what it really did bring me back. The alumni game, I got to say, that was batting practice in the alumni game for me. That's kind of like my highlight of the year. I was stretching and taking Advil all week leading up to it. And sure enough, I did get a single, and running down to first base, I felt that hammy tightening up a little bit. But I tell you, there's a lot of talent on that baseball team right now, both returning and some young freshmen. I watched them quite a bit, and I'm excited about the year. A lot of momentum, and I think they're pretty focused. I think Nick and Pat really have got them in a right mindset, and I think they want to win.
Well, and regarding this year's baseball team, I think last year the biggest improvement we saw was in pitching.
Yep.
I mean, they've always been able to hit the ball, but then they lose those high-scoring games. Last year they were winning those games because the opponent scores weren't quite so high.
Yeah. I mean, in a Minnesota Spring League, it's depth of pitching because you may go a week and not playing, and all of a sudden you're going to be playing 8 games in 4 or 5 days. So having some people who can throw strikes and a depth in there, that is a separator, and that's what the good teams have got, is a deep, good, strong pitching staff.
You know, when you played here, it obviously wasn't Max Mohawk Field yet, but talk a little bit about the field, because I think a lot of people that go there now don't understand the improvements that have been made to that field compared to when you played there in the late 70s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, go back to springtime. There were some years when we hardly had practices and couldn't have games on the field, just because of, like I say, frost and wet fields. Now with the drainage system, and all the improvements they've made, it's totally playable in a lot better conditions. It looks great. And in this day and age, the high school fields are getting better, and college should be a step up, from your high school program. So there's expectation to have some really, really great facilities. So I think when we did do the baseball, the softball, adding the track, I think that it's an expectation that you got to have those fields, and it was great to play on. I love the grass baselines. I think that's really great. It used to have a lot of sand out there in order to absorb the water, but I thought that the infield. I played second base for 1 inning, and the ball didn't go boom, boom, boom. It was a pretty straightforward grounder, and
just think how many fewer errors you would have had there at second. And your freshman season, you played second base, right, and transitioned to center.
Yeah, I did. From a distance, the field looks great, but you get out there, and it's got a great feel to it. Really, really great feel to it. I mean, it's just the location of a ballpark there. I don't know if you've ever been out to the cemetery to see Max Mohawk's gravestone, but etched in a piece of Bison stone is the baseball field. Oh, wow. With the bluffs in the background and the bleachers. It's even got Max's wife, Irene, sitting there in the stand, and it's a great tribute to him, but it's always been a magic place to me. I love that. It's kind of sacred ground, I think.
I think that's one of the nice things, again, of going back to that M Club weekend and you speaking, is you could kind of let people understand the groundwork that you guys laid so that they can succeed now. And I think that's really part of the importance of that evening is that people can understand that there were people before them that gave up a lot and sacrificed a lot so they could be where they're at today.
Yeah. And you do. I mean, you're lucky to have an opportunity to carry the load, at some point in time, so that someone else can take it over. And again, like I mentioned, my folks, the expectation was you leave it better than you found it. And it's your opportunity to get in there and do what you can do and then hand it to the next person and the next person. And just that continual improvement is what makes it always better for the next generation.
And baseball and working at St. Mary's aren't all you do. And, I mean, let's see if we can rattle these things off. Race car driver, hang glider, pilot, parachutist. Talk a little bit about the daredevil side of you.
Well, I do some daredevil things, but I do them with a plan, and I do them relatively conservatively. But, people say, geez, you're trying to kill yourself. I say, no, I'm just trying to live my life. I've always wanted to be a participant, and I'm not the best at things I do, but I do kind of throw myself at different activities that I'm interested in. The aviation thing comes back to my father again. He worked on the Atlas missile program, so lived in San Diego. We lived near a glider port. The Goodyear blimp flew over our house all the time. My dad's working on rockets, so to some people it seems crazy, but it just seemed like a natural progression from the experiences I had when I was younger. And coming to Winona, there's bluffs here. I ran into a guy who was flying hang gliders, and it turned to be a great experience, great opportunity.
Conservative parachuting. That's the first time I've heard that. And you didn't even mention the musician side.
That's right. That was next.
Yeah,
but
okay,
before I get to that part, you're a competitor. I mean, that's obvious with baseball and whatnot. And you really did carry that over, and that was evident in your race car driving. You drove Formula Vs, which is a form of Indy car, a little bit smaller cars, but you started out there having never raced before, and really, when you stepped out of it, you were among the top in your field.
Yeah. I was. I go back to my father again. When I was a kid, my dad raced cars in San Diego. Again, it was kind of a family thing, and I'm competitive, and but it was neat to be thrashing on the car during the week and then go there on the weekend. And I mean, you can't control everything, but if you show up with good equipment and you drive within your means, and you use some strategy, like I say, and you try to get better each time you go around. And we did have quite a bit of luck toward the end there. won quite a few races. And Donnie, you came out to Michigan with us.
Yes, I did.
And you know, it was a great family thing. And you know, once my kids kind of grew up and went a different direction, and we started taking care of elderly parents and things like that, I ran out of a little bit of time and a little bit of energy and a little bit of money, but I got in and had a lot of fun and got out in one piece.
Now let's talk about your other passion, and that is music. Most people probably don't know that you are a very, very talented musician. When Billy was younger, when he and Andy used to play hockey together, Chris actually played the national anthem with his accordion. So he's a very talented musician. Talk a little bit about your music, and tell people really, because you've wrote several songs, and I want you to tell them how you go about writing your songs.
Yeah. I got into a habit, actually it all started in college. A couple of guys were playing guitar in college, and I said, boy, that looks like fun. And I'd, you know, drive around listening to music and singing along, and I just wanted to do it real badly, so I picked up a guitar after college, taught myself. I can't read a note of music, but I just kind of taught myself, worked through it. And then my brother got married, and I thought, well, I'd write him a song. And I started writing wedding songs for brothers, sisters, cousins, and things like that. And then I kind of got into a habit in the morning in the bathtub with a clipboard, just kind of writing reflective little poems and things, and I got into a habit. And I did it for years and years, and I think I probably got about 700, you know, I would call them lyrics, but they're really kind of reflective little story poems. And then I started putting those to some music, and it's just a habit I got into. And I mean, if you try to write 700 bad songs, you can't do it, so some of them came out pretty good.
Well, and if you're writing lyrics in the bathtub, at least you know they're going to be clean.
They're going to be clean.
Right?
There you go.
Chris, is there anything that people do, and you're like, I could never do that? I mean, that maybe it seems too risky to you or anything like that? I mean, with everything you're involved in, all of your skills and talents, it's just incredible to me, all of the things you're involved with.
Well, I think the reason I'm involved, I'm not afraid to make mistakes,
Right.
put it that way. You know, and Jenny, my wife, will say that, geez, you put yourself out there. But
That's okay,
again, it's kind of habits. You get into a habit of doing this or a habit of doing that, and after a while, the days keep on going, and all of a sudden you've had a lot of experiences. And, you know, I've been very fortunate, like I said. And like I said in the M Club deal, it's because of a lot of people who either gave me a hug or a kick in the butt at the right time, called me by name, and you know, encouraged me and supported me, and that's the story. It's more about all those different people. You know,
And that's really the story of St. Mary's too.
it really is.
Yeah.
And the magic of St. Mary's is, you know, things change here and there, but it continues to attract really good, caring, talented people. That's the magic. I mean, there's buildings and the property, but really I think that the Winona, the mission of the brothers, the size of the school, a lot of different factors really make St. Mary's a sweet spot. And people got opportunities to go elsewhere, but they choose to come to St. Mary's because they can make a difference, you know, and they can spend time with students and they can make an impact on their lives. And I think it's a magical place. It really, really is.
All right, Chris Kendall, thanks so much for joining us.
And thank you guys for doing the show.
Yeah.
I watch and
Yeah.
appreciate all the time you put in here.
Yeah, we're happy to do it. So, all right, and stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back here on the Cardinals Nest to discuss the past week in St. Mary's sports. That's next here on HBC.
You know, we're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, you know, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. I mean, anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
How many times in business have you heard this? Your network consultant says your computers are slow because your internet speeds are slow. Then, your service provider says it's not the internet speed, your computers and network are at fault. So which is it? Well, now with HBC's professional services, you don't have to deal with the blame game anymore. We can take care of everything for your business. From designing an entire network to installing a new printer, HBC is here to help keep your business running smooth.
Check us out on the web at hbci.com or give us a call at 888-474-9995.
So you know how some cable companies have these bundle deals where if you purchase their TV, telephone, and internet together, you save? At HBC, we're taking it one step further. Get your TV and phone service through HBC, and we'll give you internet absolutely free. That's right, free. And you still save money. Some packages can save you up to $660 a year, and it's all backed by our 30-day guarantee. The best part? Free internet is available to all customers, new and existing. Go to hbci.com to see which free internet package is right for you, or call 888-474-9995.
We're a small town store. Everything relies on our internet, our pumps, our registers, everything. So we need somebody that is willing to go that extra mile for us. Jill is awesome. She is very personable. When we call them, they react to us as if we are top on their list. And to me, that is number one. I've had excellent service.
Call Jill and find out what excellent business service is like.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau to recap the past week in St. Mary's athletics. And Donny, today as we tape this, it's Thursday. I saw a lot of people on campus Thursday morning who could not stop talking about the volleyball game Wednesday night. What a terrific contest as St. Mary's took on St. Kate's. HBC was there televising it live and could not have asked for a better matchup. It went 5 sets with St. Mary's coming out on top.
Yeah, that's a very big win for the Cardinals. They improved to 2-0 on the conference in conference play, and you know, it's nice for Coach Lester. I'm sure most people know by now that Corey Phelps, the head coach at St. Catherine, was Mike's assistant here at St. Mary's for a number of years. So there's that interesting little rivalry between two really good friends, and you could see a little bit of that during the match. They were kind of bantering back and forth in a fun way. But Cardinals came out with 2 really good wins in the first 2 sets. And then St. Kate's came back and won the next 2 sets, and then St. Mary's came away with a 16-14 win in the 5th set. Anytime you can win a conference match, it's a big deal. For St. Mary's to start out 2-0 is fantastic. Last time they did that was 2008, so it's been a while since they've gotten off to a really good start in conference play, and they're playing very well. I think one of the things we were talking a little bit about off camera is that this is a completely different team than teams that we may be used to in the past, in that they're extremely good defensively. They serve receive very well, but they don't necessarily have that one individual who's going to get you 20 kills. Mary Nordic had a great match with 14 kills, but Colleen Seba played very well. Jenna Sullivan played very well. They're able to go to more than just one person. They don't necessarily have to have that go-to person to get the job done. So that's a big deal for Coach Lester, and a little bit different than what they've been used to in the past.
Well, and that was my first night that I had a chance to see St. Mary's play this year, and I came away extremely impressed by the libero, Lex Krogstad, just a freshman from Chicago. Wow, can she play volleyball?
Absolutely, she's the real deal. 23 digs last night. She's got almost 200 digs already this year through 11 matches. So you know, she's a phenomenal player, and Coach Lester finds these players and puts them into his system, and they do a great job. I think you certainly can't forget about the play of Lexi Asimos. A great job as a setter for the Cardinals last night, and she continues to run that offense. Lex is getting Lexi the ball, and then Lexi's distributing it to the person that she needs to get it to, and they're getting the job done.
Well, and as a setter, she's so dangerous because oftentimes she'll get the kill. She'll either do the little tap over the net, or she can go up and get the attack herself.
Absolutely, and she's not afraid to do it either. There was one rally last night that she actually had 4 attacks in that one rally. She didn't succeed the first 3 times. She tried it a 4th time and got the job done. And you need that. It gives them a different dynamic. You know, in years past, setters didn't really attack that much. They set the ball. Well, that role is changing, and Lexi is really grasping that position as, you know what, I can be as much of an offensive threat as I can as a person who's setting up somebody else.
And Lexi, along with Mary Nordic, make for a very nice blocking combination at the net as well.
Absolutely. Mary Nordic had a great match, and she's played very well. She continues to improve with each match that they play, and you know, you look at this lineup, and you got to remember that you've got Jenna Sullivan's a freshman. Mary Nordic is a sophomore. Lexi's a junior. Lex Krogstad's a freshman. So there's a lot of young players. Carissa Hahn is one of those seniors who's kind of leading by example and really doing a nice job of helping the younger people out. And, you know, with her and Tara Rasmussen in there and Kathy Rennie, I think that the younger people are learning a lot from the older people and vice versa. I think that those seniors are also learning a lot from their younger players as well.
And for those of you watching, if you like volleyball, make sure you get to the St. Mary's Gymnasium to watch them play this year. Very exciting. And the next game right here on HBC, 3 o'clock Saturday, as they host Augsburg. So that MIAC schedule getting more and more important. It continues 2-0 now. The Cardinals are in conference play, so they'll look to go 3-0 against Augsburg.
Yeah, big match against Augsburg. Talked to Coach Lester today, and you know, he gave it what I figured. You know, Augsburg's very good, just like every team in the conference. So it should be a big match, and being at home is going to be a big advantage for the Cardinals.
All right, cross-country action, Donnie. The men's cross-country team in the St. Olaf Invitational, 21 men's teams, they finish in 5th place, as Peter Borash has another terrific showing.
Yeah, it's the Coach Barrett is really excited about his men's team right now. They're running very well, and you know, Peter had he's had a great season, and you know, he had a great race. Aaron Haley ran very well. Jake Traxler, John Souchere, those 4 have really proven to be very, very consistent, talented runners. And I think Coach Barrett is pretty excited about the conference championships and the regional. They finished 5th in this meet. They were the 3rd best MIAC school at this meet. So right now they're running very well, and he's got his schedule set up in such a way that come conference and regionals, they're going to be ready to go. And by the way, Coach Barrett, congratulations on the birth of your first child. I just found out today that he and his wife had a daughter, so congratulations.
And the women placing 15th out of 22 teams.
Yeah, Katie Stolz led the way for the Cardinals. She's really kind of picked up, as we've talked before. She had a great track season and really has come on and done a very good job, and she'll continue to lead the women as they get ready for the SMU No Limit Invitational a week from Friday.
And Donnie, in women's and men's soccer action, they go to Decorah, Iowa. Unfortunately, the women come away losing that one 5-0. The men lose by a 4-0 score.
Yeah, and you can talk to either of their coaches right now, and right now the key for them is that they've got to find some offense. And you know, you no matter who you play, no matter how many goals you give up, you're not going to win if you have a 0 on your side. So they're going to continue to look for you know, some people to pick up the offense a little bit. I know Coach Cassidy on the women's side needs to get over this injury bug that's really kind of plaguing them a little bit, and hopefully they'll get things turned around this weekend against Bethel.
And finally, in men's and women's golf, Blake Westerberg on the men's golf team, season best for the men's golfers is 75.
Yeah, he had a great final round at the St. John's Invitational, and what's really impressive about that 75 was he shot a 33 on the back 9, so he was 3 under on his final 9, which really, 75 is a great score, but it also shows that he has the potential to go even lower than that, and I know that really excites Coach Landrum in that you know, he's got a player there that can shoot a low number. Hopefully some of the other players can drop their scores a little bit, as they really now have 3 weeks to prepare for the MIAC championships, get out on the course and really work on their games a little bit, and hopefully be ready for the conference championships. Right. On the women's side, a Viterbo Invitational, Jenna Mrazinski had another solid performance for the women, shooting 90-91 for a 181. Finished 7th individually, which is a great showing for her. And they've got a duel against Viterbo this Saturday before they get ready for the conference championships as well.
Yeah, so, you know, it was talking conference championships already. That means the winter sports are starting to think about
right
practicing
around the corner.
too. Right?
Yeah, October 15th is right around the corner. They'll start practicing, and we'll be having conversations about fall and winter sports real soon.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot, Donnie. Great show. I want to thank Chris Kendall for being our guest earlier here on the program. And most importantly, thanks to you for watching. This has been the Cardinals Nest. Tune in next week for another Cardinals Nest right here on HBC Channel 25.